So the gyno did some tests, and then they realized that she was actually sexually abused
By?
by the nanny.
Oh no.
And the nanny is a female. So they realized that she had cuts from inside. She was using objects because obviously she doesn't have what the men have.
Hello there. Hello. Welcome to our podcast. It's great to be with you here with the guys next door. We're super excited to be having you. Aren't we, guys?
Yes, we
Oh,
are.
yeah, sure. Excitement. I was going on.
We did dancing.
Yeah, but
Super
yeah,
excited.
it's great. So my name is Sugar, and I'm with other amazing people in the house. Introduce yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Rejoice, but most of you call me RJ. I'm really honored to be here. Thank you.
Next person.
Yeah, my name is Edwin James, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
My name is Dana, aka Introverted Journalist, and I'm so happy to be here.
I'm God's Will. You can call me Yaro, the guy who represents the top to the street. I'm glad to be here.
Yes,
Mr. Wisdom.
guys. Yeah, we call him Mr. Wisdom. He always has
Something
nuggets of wisdom to give us. This show is powered by
classic
Entertainment. Oh, you see how we're excited. Don't forget Classic Entertainment. But yeah, it's really great. Well, we are having a very sensitive conversation today. That's what I'm gonna say. That it's going to be a tough one. Although we're about laughs and loves and everyday conversations here, but I would like you to know before we start this conversation that whatever we say here is purely our opinions, and I don't want to say not facts, but we are not what's the word? Yeah, we're not professionals in those fields. It's just our experiences and our opinions. Remember the name of the podcast, Guy Next Door. It's really ordinary people doing things, right? But today we want to talk about sexual abuse, mental health, and just that whole circle, to be honest. Just talk about what's going on there. So I'll start the very basics, guys. You know how you did it in primary school. Define sexual abuse. 2 months.
Auntie me, it's me.
Take it now, take it.
Okay, so for me, sexual abuse and sexual harassment go hand in hand. They're like step siblings, right? But are very close.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll define sexual abuse as forcefully taking something from someone in a very sexual way. And sexual harassment can be defined as just aggravatingly looking at somebody. English is very hard. But I did pass English in YA.
Okay.
But yeah, I just feel like both topics are very linked together.
Oh, like they're related?
Very related, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Who else wants to? Everybody has to answer
Everybody
this
has
one.
to
Yeah,
Sorry. I think sexual harassment, just like I said, is where I come from. We say from clap, dance they start. You understand? Sexual harassment is like a process. That's how I see it. You know, it first comes from the mind before the person shows it and acts on it. So it's just something someone can conceive inside the heart. That's how I see sexual harassment. You know, even looking at the person, talking and all that.
And abuse?
Then abuse is an act of violence. And mostly it's on someone, maybe the victim. The victim is maybe the person who is abusing the other one is more powerful, maybe has more strength than the other. So it's an act of violence, violating someone else, another person.
Sexually, yeah?
Yeah, that's how I see it.
The beautiful Dana, tell us.
I think for me, sexual abuse is basically it's the sexual behavior. It could be towards a man or towards a woman without their consent, like without their permission. And for the sexual harassment, I think, in my definition, I could give an example of myself. For some reason, I get it a lot. I get people touching my bum, like, all the time. Even yesterday, actually.
Wow.
Every time I'm passing somewhere, I feel like a guy has to put his hands. Yeah, so I think sexual
And I
harassment
hate that I can
is-
relate to that, yeah.
Yeah,
too.
sexual harassment is basically, the touching and all that. Sometimes I could be just walking in town and,
Or like in a mat, somebody
Yeah,
just touching
like-
your legs for
like
nothing.
literally just, hey, wait. People do that to me a lot. I don't know why, but it happens to me a lot.
It's sad to say, but it's because you're a fine babe. You know what
I
I'm
don't
saying?
know.
Like,
No, I don't even think it's about being fine. I feel like people just can't keep their
People are
hands
just
to themselves.
cringy.
Because
you just
they
have
can.
to put your hands on someone and just be touching them. Actually, even yesterday it happened to me. I was somewhere and I was just walking, and then this guy just decided to pull my hand and just be. And then I landed it back on him.
oh, you slapped
I
back.
slapped him.
Violence for violence.
Yeah.
Let's hear from our...
To me, just give a simple definition. Sexual harassment is just touching someone inappropriately. While sexual abuse is, taking advantage of someone's emotion, physically, and the rest, without that person's consent. Make it short that way.
You see
Okay.
why we call him Uncle Wisdom.
Yeah, exactly.
For the wiseness. I think I want to share Google. You know why? This generation where Google has the answers to everything.
Yes.
Sure.
But at least this will give us a guidance in like our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So Google says sexual abuse is a sexual behavior or sexual act forced upon a woman, man, or child without their consent. I'm just going to end it there. But do we agree with that definition?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Forceful
Forceful act.
sexual act upon a woman, a man,
Or
or a child. But in this generation where I don't know what other people identify as,
People identify as cops. You know that.
whatever that is. And then there is sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is a type of harassment involving the use of explicit or implicit sexual overtones, including the unwelcome and inappropriate inappropriate promises of rewards in exchange for sexual favors. Oh,
Wow. That's different from
What I thought was.
I
Yeah.
thought it was.
let me read it again so that you
Read
can
it again.
sink.
Yeah.
Sexual harassment is a type of harassment involving the use of explicit or implicit undertones. So that means things that were very obvious or not so obvious. Sexual overtones, including unwelcome and inappropriate promises of reward. Okay, including, so it's not tied to.
Yeah.
Including unwelcome and
Inappropriate.
promises of a reward in actual sex.
English, yeah.
But you get it. Which, wow, that has made me realize that, that's why they call like this sexually transmissible grades sexual harassment. Even
Yeah, sex for grades.
yeah, like sex for grades is sexual harassment.
There's wisdom.
Men,
in what
can you
you're
relate
saying.
to
Can
us
you
what we are
relate?
doing now?
Of course.
Let me ask, yeah,
Yes.
to the guys, because I know it's very very relatable with the ladies.
Okay.
To the guys, have you ever been in a scenario where your lecturer, maybe back when you were in high school, or I say high school, yeah, it happens in high school as
Yeah,
well,
sure.
or in university, right? Where your lecturers would offer
Way
you sex in exchange for grades, like a fine guy, come let's do this thing,
Sure.
I'll give you A,
Sure.
that kind of thing.
Well, I've not experienced it that way,
Yeah.
but in a certain way. In the sense that I had, like, for example, my out of experience, my economics teacher. Then when I was in high school, the class was my classmates were always telling me, "This is your babe, your baby's around." And she was the economics teacher then in high school,
But she
and we had this kind of relationship.
wow.
So, but I never saw it that way.
But that's
She's
not a
always calling
relationship.
me, come to my office, and I never saw it that way. So, maybe because of lack of information or I wasn't aware.
You were too innocent.
So innocent, and I thought nothing like that.
Wait, I'm trying to understand. What do you mean you guys had it that way?
Like they always call her my wife, my baby school. She
But
was
did
as
she
you are.
particularly do anything?
no, but she was like always calling me,
No.
come here, and the rest,
Always wanted to spend time with you.
like mother and son, something like that.
Was
Probably
she
trying to
that's,
get there.
Is that sexual harassment though?
No,
No.
that's why I said not really,
it's not.
but
It's not.
from your definition, it might lead to that.
Yeah, if you had stayed
okay, it
longer,
can set
yeah.
a
if you had stayed
platform.
longer in high
Yeah,
school, you
yeah.
would have actually ended up with.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The
I think if the
After
woman wanted to take it there, it's not a matter of time.
Yeah.
It was a matter of opportunity.
But he was.
That's
you
what I'm
just,
saying.
You were too short-sighted to see it. I felt like we were so slow.
Awareness wasn't there.
Well, are you guys saying that now? Let's say you go to visit your son in secondary school, and he's saying that there's this particular teacher who is always calling me to the office. You would not be okay with that?
I don't think I'd be okay with it.
I wouldn't be
Why?
okay.
Why is she calling you to the
this
office?
current
This current generation,
I wouldn't be okay with anything like that.
No, because I want to know why. What are you always doing when you go to the office?
Yeah.
Do you get?
Yeah.
So it's not just. It's one thing for you to call a student to your office to have a discussion about academics. You're falling off. And it's one thing for you to always be with this
Come on,
person.
let's talk now.
But-
Like, come on, just with who?
But
Yes.
you just can't conclude like that.
That's why I need to know. Like, I need to find out.
Yeah.
What exactly is she always calling you
But
for? What
there are
is
some
he calling you
students that
for?
are very the teachers find it very interesting to be with them. Help them. These
Have
are
someone,
these are
have an
intelligent
extra student
students.
there.
No, you don't need an extra student.
I think
But
No.
if your son or your daughter complains to you, to me, that's a sign.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's different.
Yeah.
Because-
that's different.
Because
But that's not a complaint.
your son or your daughter might have been thinking, why is she or why is he always calling me to the office?
Okay, wait. That
And
there's this,
he or she must have seen some signs.
there's this,
Yeah.
there's
That's why
this-
he or she came back home and said,
This
"Look,
teacher is always
this teacher
calling
is
me.
only calling me to his office or our office." You understand me?
What's going on, Eddie?
Wait, is the child complaining, or is probably telling
Informing.
The
they're
child
telling you that there's this teacher that has been helping me in school, trying to help me meet up, trying to help me,
Dana, what do
See,
you
So
think?
it's two different things.
Okay, Rejoice.
okay.
It might be the child is not even complaining.
There could be the friendly aspect of teacher-student,
Okay.
but it shouldn't be too much. Especially currently, like how things are.
exactly.
So I think like both the parent, the teacher, and the student have to be very cautious. Like if it becomes very frequent, then there's something there. Probably trying to get the child to be very comfortable, and then eventually get into it. So it's very
Most especially if the parents of that child didn't ask that child any question.
Okay,
The
if
child
it
just
comes
come
up.
up.
Yeah.
And say there's this teacher, he or she has been calling me to the class or to somewhere. You understand me? That's the
Okay,
sign.
on the side.
That's the sign.
Okay, the child is not comfortable with that.
Yeah.
That's
If
the
the
sign.
child is not,
That's
I think that's what
he or
we're
she is
saying.
telling you.
If the child is not
Yeah.
comfortable, that's an alarm for sure.
Yeah.
And maybe even if the child sounds comfortable, I think that's what you're saying, Rejoice, right? Like even if this
No,
child is
the
just
parent
like,
has
oh yeah,
to-
this is happening.
Yeah.
You as a parent,
Yeah.
you
You
need
have
to
the
be
responsibility.
Yeah.
Exactly.
To know why.
To know why. Because, for example, one thing I know with kids is a child will not open up if something is not intriguing or disturbing.
Yeah.
So if my child tells me, Mommy, this teacher is always calling me, I always want to start a conversation. Why is she always calling you? Is there something you did wrong?
Yeah.
Like, no, she just wants to talk. You say that the first time, the second time, I'll start raising eyebrows.
Yeah.
But sometimes it might be a very, very innocent hangout you get. Then I'll also reach out to the teacher. How's my kid doing in school?
Yeah.
This, and that. Yeah.
But that also beckons, anyway, we'll get into that because that has just brought up the whole aspect of how do we even make our children know? But I think even beyond that, the first thing is, so what are the lines? How do we tell where this is sexual abuse, this is sexual harassment? Is it a blurry space? Is it easy to tell? What do you guys think? Anybody with wisdom in the house?
Yeah, me, I would say, before we get to what you just said, there are other scenarios when it comes to sexual harassment and sexual abuse. There are other forms of sexual harassment and abuse. Take, for example, people who go look for a job. That's what happens to the ladies frequently. And unfortunately, maybe the male guy, the guy who wants to give her the job, or the employer might want to take advantage of her, by having sex with her in exchange for job. At least those things should be looked into as well.
I mean, that's interesting. What you've mentioned about sexual harassment is still, I think it's still part of the question that I asked. What are the lines? What is and what is not sexual harassment? What is not sexual abuse? I feel like it's so common that we don't even realize. I don't know if it's just me, but it almost seemed like there was a time in my life where I will not be offended if a guy just touched my bum, because it's just like, how will I know we're friends?
I'm very
do I have a problem?
Okay, so personally, like I was saying earlier, I think in this day and generation, there's a very, very thin line between sexual harassment and sexual abuse, especially when it comes to friends.
And not.
Do you understand? We feel like because this guy is my guy, he can slap my ass any day, anytime.
It's not even a normal thing.
But you're cool with it. So,
I'm cool with it, but some guys tend to abuse it. Guys tend to take advantage of that because we're really cool. We feel like I can slap my ass any day, anytime. Now, the thing is, why I'm saying this is because I've had a friend like that back at home. And there's some days you just don't want that kind of play. And this one he's like, it's my own.
But does that
Why
count
can't
as sexual harassment?
When you're not in that emotional space, I think it does.
To me,
that's why I said there's a very, very thin line.
To me,
when you're not in that emotional space, it's clearly harassment.
To me, I don't see it that way, because
your husband not.
No, if it's my boyfriend or my husband, it's different.
Yeah, so
do you understand? But we're just cool guys. You're my G.
But I believe you shouldn't allow that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have allowed that from the beginning. So to me, it's not a sexual harassment. You cannot tell me because that day you're not something like emotionally something hit me or sexual harassment. No.
How will I know?
Hitting you before. How will I know?
Yeah.
There's a difference between the normal hitting and then there's an aggravating hitting. The one that they will slap and grab. It's not your own. Don't grab it.
Has he slapped and grabbed you before and you kept quiet?
No, he has not.
No, but that's the point is if he has access to your bum from anywhere.
Host.
Yes.
Give us access.
You want to say something?
Oh, okay. We have in-house audience. No.
Yes. I believe even if you are married, right? Even if you are married and he's yours, she's yours. If she's not in the mood,
don't.
And you do anything against her mood, she's not giving you consent. It's rape and it's harassment.
High five.
Objection.
High five.
Objection.
Give me high five.
I disagree with what you just said. Because I'm not a mind reader. If you allow me to do it the first and second time, and I did it the third time, you call it sexual harassment. I disagree with you.
Sorry.
I disagree with that.
Yes.
Please, let me say something.
Yes.
I'm a religious man. And what you just said now is kind of wrong, you know?
Yeah?
Because, no, listen.
As a married man
and a married woman, your body is not yours.
It's for me.
Belongs to your
body
spouse.
belongs to
your
spouse. Yes.
I don't agree.
Something.
Remember
I
we
feel
said
like we define sexual abuse as doing it without consent, right? So even if you're married and the other person doesn't feel like, okay, there are those days that people have moods, like you just don't want to be touched.
That time of the
for
month.
ladies, is that not right?
Yes,
That
yes,
those
very
days,
true.
like personally, I don't want to be touched. I don't want to be talked to. Like I don't want anything.
Just leave me alone.
Yeah. So I think if the person says no, you're supposed to respect that. And if you don't and go ahead and do it, then I think that's abuse.
I will still back up. I agree with my brother. As a religious man, as he said, I agree with him. Your body belongs to each other. Your body belongs to each other. If you do that, if you deny your husband at that particular time, anything might happen. The same to the wife. If you deny your wife, anything might happen.
Question.
Yes.
Your child is supposed to respect you as a religious
Man.
It's a law in religion.
Yeah.
Children, respect your parents.
Yeah.
Right? So in cases where the children don't feel like, do you have the right to maltreat your child?
No.
To be honest,
no.
That's what I think.
No.
I think that this conversation is getting very
Wide.
not just wide,
Sexual.
theoretical, biblical. Is we're beginning to enter Bible dynamics that I don't think any of us understand.
As a religious man. As a religious man.
It's his understanding.
Yeah.
As a religious man.
What I believe. That it's not meant to be that way, that the woman would say, you touch my butt because I'm not in the mood.
It's harassment now.
No.
But then, can I ask a question? Or can I say something? We've already defined sexual abuse as going against my consent. I am married to you, right? Does not mean I'm your property. There's a difference. I am not your property. You did not buy me.
Where would you expect your man or your woman to get it from?
Jonas, calm down. You should be able to read my emotions.
Are there not other things?
No.
I feel like reading emotions is too wide.
If I tell you, babe, honestly, I don't want to be touched.
If you tell me,
if you tell me,
if you communicate, I'm not denying you.
If you tell him,
This is why you communicate and understand.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm getting.
We're going off.
Yeah. There's okay, so borderline is we need to communicate our feelings.
Yeah.
But
You
I think
understand yourself. Yeah.
now this dynamic or this scenario that we're giving was marriage and relationship. I was talking about places where that physical connection is generally not there.
Not there.
You know.
Okay.
So what is the line? Where's the line? Personally, I've reached a point in my life where don't touch me.
Exactly.
Just don't touch me. Is that where we need to be as a society right now?
True.
Like, just don't touch me? What do you think?
I think for our sanity and our
For me,
emotions,
we don't have any relationship. We are not into anything. If you touch me, I beat you up.
Back down.
For me, I think
Let me shift a little bit.
That's just it for me. I
For
beat
me.
you up.
For me, I think our conversations matters a lot. The conversation you have with someone draws a line. That's how I put mine.
Personally, keep your feelings in your pocket. You cannot just be hugging me and be trying to romance me. Keep your feelings in your pocket. If you're just meeting for the first time, hi, what's up? We'll grow into it ahead.
Listen.
Deeper life hug.
No.
Exactly.
Hello, sister.
Hi. That's what I'm at this point
That's
in my
for
life.
you. I can't be inviting a lady. You understand? I can't be inviting a lady or say, come and visit me. Come say hi, and when you come, you expect I give you a handshake or I shake you.
Really,
Side
just
hug.
man.
No.
Yeah, see, the kind of hug I'm talking about is, there's some hugs that some men just give you, and then they
they're
love
feeling everything.
Let me.
No. Before you come to visit me, when you come, touching body.
Hell.
No.
That has to
Put it out there.
Yeah.
So we have to talk. We'll communicate even before you come to visit me. So we have to be on that.
That's what I say. That's what I say. Conversation matters a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Conversation matters a lot, and whether you like it or not, one way or the other, as a guy, 90% of every guy has harassed a woman one way or the other.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
Don't.
I am telling you. When you hug a lady, you think it's a friend, you press bum bum. You press breast.
I joined the 10%.
You understand me?
All right, but I feel like let's just move on because we're not getting conclusive about this, right?
Concluded.
What is Rejoice? You were telling us about a story at the beginning before we started shooting. She was telling us about some scenario about a child being harassed. I feel like just clear that story up and then we'll go into. Let's just start from there. Tell us that story.
So the story basically, it's someone that spoke about it, someone close to me, so I know it's from a reliable source. So this lady has a 5-year-old that has not said a word since she can remember. And this baby used to be very jovial, and all of a sudden she became very reserved. And when the nanny tries to touch her or take her into her room, she starts screaming. Now, this lady's husband is a diplomat, so he's always traveling. You get? So he's hardly ever around. But when he's around, he realizes that his daughter feels safer with him and loves to sleep on the same bed with her dad. So the mother has her room, the father has his room, the daughter has her room, then there's the nanny's room. So he kept asking the wife, why is it that this girl is always scared to be with the nanny? And the wife is like, no, it's just one of those things she does. So when the girl is with her mom and the dad is not around, she knows she's not safe because the mother will beat her up when she starts crying. Over time, this girl's habits started degenerating. She became very reserved, and then she felt very ill. So the mother noticed that she was spotting when she wants to change her panties. She'd see like blood stains on the panties. So she took her to the hospital. The hospital was like, this one needs a gynae to check. And let me tell you, when I heard this story, I was very, very emotional because the girl has never said a word to anybody before.
That's sad.
You get? So the gynae did some tests, and then they realized that she was actually sexually abused by the nanny.
Oh no.
And the nanny is a female. So they realized that she had cuts from inside. She was using objects because obviously she doesn't have what the men have. She doesn't have a dick. She would use object fruits and stuff like that.
Oh no.
So the woman was really, really angry, and she kept spanking her child. She was like, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? And the girl was like, the first thing she ever said in her life was, I told you. And that's when it recalled to her that all this time she was crying and shouting was a sign.
First of all, that woman
children communicate when they can't tell you anything.
Right now, I hear that they're actually going through a divorce. I don't know if it's true, but to be honest, if I was the husband, I would not really divorce you. I would give you court order.
Yeah,
and you will serve time.
Restraint.
Because I believe that babies actually communicate, but it takes a very negligent mother not to understand what her baby is saying.
But even beyond that, how is she managing to spank the child when the child is sick? Like, you just found out that your child is emotionally...
That's not a good mother.
I think for her, it was a realization that this is something that's been happening over time. And the girl had deep cuts that had actually bringing up pus. So that was why she was spotting. It had gone through like the process of infection and stuff like that. I was really mad, and I'm like, please, I need to start an NGO, to be honest, for people who have gone through sexual abuse. Because I was a victim growing up. And I know how terrible it can be. So imagine a toddler. She's a toddler. She's not even yet she's not even adolescent yet. So imagine how this girl will grow.
Which
honestly,
now?
I don't think I want nannies, to be honest.
That's just, it's cold. I think for me, it just, what do we do about people who are already here?
Yeah.
Because this conversation, by the way, this conversation sprung from the fact that we're just randomly bantering while shooting another episode, and everybody was almost like, yeah, sexually abused. Yeah, you've not gone through it. Listen, it's bad that it's so normalized in the society. What are we doing about it? I don't know. Yeah, that's the question, guys.
To me, we should still, sanitizing, giving out informations, to the public. And like I said earlier before, I think jungle justice. suits some people. Yeah, I'm serious. You cannot just take advantage of someone's emotion or someone's strength and go scot-free. That's an intentional act, especially when it comes to sexual abuse. That's an intentional act. But when it comes to harassment, you might not see it that way. But the sexual harassment, then we need more information and sanitize the public. But when it comes to sexual abuse, to me, jungle justice.
Yeah, that's according to our wise man, jungle justice. Yes, Dana.
I think it also brings the aspect of how well you relate with people around you. Could be your friends, could be your family. Like when someone is trying to communicate something to you, or when you see like someone is not talking or yeah, and it's someone that is normally like
Jovial,
in a good space
and
and jovial, and then suddenly they're not. I think it's good you try to find out what is going on, because most worst case scenario it could be sexual abuse, like such things. We need to pay attention to them, and yeah, it just keep up the awareness, because even if we say it gets to the authorities, it's never actually, people never actually get justice. So I don't know.
Sometimes I guess.
I feel like most of the time, people never get justice for especially sexual abuse and sexual.
So are you team jungle justice as well?
Yes.
When you introduce that,
Jungle justice.
when you introduce that, give an example.
I am for it.
Give an
I want to be
example.
for it.
People will buckle up their belt and know that what they're doing is barbaric.
I have a comment for you guys, but let me.
You see, we can't just leave it to the government or the
people.
The masses.
to decide, because we live in a country where there's no rule of law. You understand? They might give someone, they say, okay, you release that man from prison, and the government refuse to release that man. So that's the kind of country we are. So there's no rule of law, even when you take such person to court. Do you understand? So it should start from the house, the home. Parents should do that work.
The homework.
Yeah, they should do that. And teachers too in schools.
Wait, before you go far,
Yeah.
the country you're talking about, is it the one we're in or the one you were raised in?
Oh,
The one of
Africa in
Africa.
general.
Generally,
I'm talking about Africa, yeah.
Me,
Yeah.
I'm for two things. Use one person as example.
Hey,
Whether you're in government or not, because there's also that abuse of power.
Yeah.
And there are situations where someone will say, do you know who I am? Do you know what I can do? Who would believe you? Do you understand? Then there's the aspect of having integrity as a staff. If you're a lawyer, you cannot be bought. Everybody knows you cannot be bought. There's a lawyer in Kenya that I know can never collect bribe, and he's never lost a case. So if we go that direction of looking for justice and not just looking for something for your stomach, I think the society would be better. And then there's also the aspect of parents doing their research about their kids. Make your child your best friend. So they'll be able to say something.
pay attention to your environment.
But then I have questions for you guys. My first question to you guys is, so how are we going to regulate jungle justice? First of all, personally, I don't think that it's the safest thing to do, because I'm just like, we've had so many innocent people victim to jungle justice. So we cannot preach and normalize jungle justice, because how are we going to regulate? What are the parameters around this? And maybe my next would be, Amanda, go to your question first.
Before I go to the point of jungle justice, a lot has happened. A lot of people have got away with such crime. Some have raped because they have people in high places. They have connection, contacts, and the rest. They just walk scot-free after perpetrating those crimes. That was why I said jungle justice should be the better.
But how will we know?
The person must be proven like guilty.
By who?
Where you perpetrated that crime, the lady is there.
Who else?
If you committed sexual abuse, she should be tested, and the environment should pay attention.
Okay.
There should be more cameras
to confirm that she was
in terms of
raped.
security, the environment.
All right, that's a very direct answer.
If the man may eventually, if the man said, okay, I'm guilty, yes, I did this. So what do you want? You should set an example.
What happens when we cannot prove? What happens when people come with stories after a long time? What happens?
We should prolong the investigation. They should carry on with the investigation.
And that's my point. Who carries because I think what I'm trying to say is that we cannot leave power to the people. As much as our authorities not necessarily, they might not be doing the best, but we cannot leave power to the people, because you're seeing things now like prolonged investigations and etc. How? Who?
When I'm saying jungle justice, when I'm saying jungle justice, I'm not saying living power completely to the people.
Okay.
There must be some form of law, like you rightly said. You have a lawyer who doesn't collect bribe.
Mm-hmm.
Not every
Everybody's
government
corrupt.
official are corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone are corrupt, but they should liaise with the community. This is what happened. So the investigation should go with someone they knew that person is very, how would I put it? He knows his job.
Not remorseful.
Yeah, not remorseful. He knows his job. He's strictly professional.
All right.
That's how jungle justice, can be implemented.
Can I add something to that?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like jungle justice should be made for those who are not remorseful about their acts, because there are people who will tell you, and so I raped you, and so are you the first person?
That's if they are found guilty.
If you're found guilty. But then there are some guys that will tell you, yes, I did it, and so what?
Mr. Lecturer.
People like that.
It's like jungle justice. Straight down. You don't need investigation.
All you need is just get police around so that people will not fight.
Yeah.
Let it be an agreed thing. Personally, I believe when you use one or two people like that,
as a scapegoat example,
everybody will adjust.
I'm telling you,
guys, even beyond jungle justice, because you've actually reminded me of the point. You mentioned the fact that we should have examples. There's people. I think it's Bill Cosby, right? People who perpetrators. That's English. Perpetrators of sexual harassment who are now facing their time.
Yeah.
Has that stopped it? Do you think that there is, because of that, it has created that awareness where it has reduced?
I think for the case of Bill Cosby and
R. Kelly and the etc.
For them, it took time. If not because of social media, let's be honest, Bill Cosby will still be working free.
Are you sure?
There are celebrities.
I'm very, very sure. There are celebrities that have done this. It was after what's his name, Michael Jackson died. We started hearing issues of him having pedophile, and then things went worldwide because of social media. Someone had to speak up. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So for the case of Bill Cosby, if not for social media, would have not known this is the kind of person this guy is. And there were evidences against him. If you check the Hollywood industry now, you don't really get to hear sexual harassment the way it was in the time of Bill Cosby. Yes, there is, but then there's also that aspect of people also cooking up stories.
Exactly. Okay, this one is not in the sexual circle. Look at what is happening in Malaysia and Singapore. Once you're found guilty, they find you with jungle justice. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean.
Okay. Okay, so you mean in a way where it's like it's part of the law still?
Yeah,
it's just
law,
like
and the society, they know about it.
Yeah.
They agree to it. Because sexual assault, my dear, is a very, very...
it's a very traumatizing...
It's a very traumatizing thing, you understand?
Yeah.
So what if the lady say he raped me and he didn't...
But that's what
investigation.
Yeah, he said that there needs to be proof.
The investigation, you have to have proof.
Anyway,
prolong the investigation.
I see all of that, guys. I had not given my own solution. Adding on to the other things you guys have said, I think mental health therapy is important. As it's not so affordable, but it is important. I think it really makes me I desire a world where we can be more accessible to therapies and counseling, and even men opening up on, men. I want to hear from you guys. Do you guys think that it's easy as men being able to open up about these situations as men, with that in mind?
Not as boys. No, there are two things. As a teenager,
I think as males.
As
males,
generally as males.
No, you don't generalize it.
Okay, as men and boys.
When you're like a teenager, or maybe a toddler, all the stuff, you cannot come out.
Why?
You can't.
Why?
That's what I'm saying.
One, the society. You've said it already. That you have to be a man and the rest will set in. Then as an adult, you see it as a disgrace to you, to your personality and the rest. So you go do your own thing, as maybe you want to take care of the situation yourself.
I bet to differ.
Sexual abuse is meant, it's an act of violence. Mm-hmm. So for someone to violate you, it has to be stronger than you.
Exactly.
Do you understand? So that person has to be stronger than you. So it doesn't. So if you're saying there's this stigma, or you are ashamed to come out to talk because a man is not supposed to cry, or a man is not supposed to show that he has been raped. No, it's not supposed to be that way. If somebody violated you, that person was stronger than you for him or her to be able to do that to you. So that's how I see it. So I think for guys, it's better if a guy can come out and say it. I think it's supposed to be easier for a guy to come out and maybe tell someone. But for girls, I think the stigma and all that, being ashamed in the society, that's what I think for the female.
I beg to differ with that, because for ladies, it's actually easier to speak up when you're in that
emotional support.
You have your girls around, right? You know that this is something I've been carrying for so long, and this is some girls can relate to my pain. So I would easily, even though it's gonna be painful, but I would feel safe, especially if I've known these girls for a while. I feel safe by telling them this is what I've been through. Do you understand? That is why I act the way I do. But for the guys, it's very, very difficult for a man to open up. Let's be honest. First of all, the society does not give that platform that once a guy is emotionally disturbed, he can open up and the society will not judge him. Guys don't speak up because of fear of being judged and stigmatization. Because even if a guy tells you I was raped, a girl is already like, this one, where everybody don't even know a story. The stigma is more on the men than the ladies. A lady can get married. Do you understand? And the guy will be like, I know what you've been through. I'll be there for you. But how many ladies will want to marry a man who was sexually abused and still be his emotional support?
Show him love.
Show him equal love. So for me, it's more difficult for a guy to open up than a lady.
Yeah, I think
what I said, you don't understand what I say. When I say the teenagers can come out, like teenagers, the boys. But when it comes to adult, no, very difficult. I can take care of that situation.
Do we have to change that?
Yeah, we have to.
We have to.
No.
I will take care of that situation myself. You understand what I'm saying? If I'm being abused, you override me, and I know that you're stronger than me. I will come back in a different way, which is not the best way anyway. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Which is not the best way anyway to do that. But me coming out to tell, like, look, I've been like sexually harassed, all this stuff as an adult, and it would be a stigma to me.
Yeah,
but I go take care of the situation myself.
So we just need to we need to change that basically.
Yeah.
Can we have NGOs that will give that platform for the men to speak up?
The men agree to speak up though.
Exactly.
But I think
men see it as a normal thing. Let's just flow with life. Let's flow with it.
But you're dying on the inside.
I think it's important that we create platforms for men to speak out. Like for example, you men being here and telling men that it's okay to speak up is very important.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's important. It's like, are you going to be willing to listen to your friend? Are you going to encourage your friend
without judging?
Without judging.
We start speaking out.
So, and maybe from a man, as we come to the end of this, guys, but from a man's point of view, how can you guys encourage men to just build those bonds and speak up more?
I would just say it in a phrase. Speak up.
Okay.
Do you want amplification?
No. It doesn't have to be very difficult, because when men come together, they talk about two things.
Money?
No, not even money. Talk about woman and football.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what men discuss about.
Okay.
You understand? So in that process, I'm talking with my guy about that girl. There's this girl me and she did one time. You understand? Stuff like that. So I might just bring it out. Man, this is what happened to me one time. It's good. So you can talk. Yeah, you can talk.
Our hearts go out to the men out there. Please, if you've ever experienced, not just men, honestly, if you've ever experienced sexual harassment, sexual abuse, or just any type of torture, because to be fair, we can't exhaust all the mental issues. Hopefully we will in other episodes try to cover and sensitize. But if you have experienced sexual harassment and sexual abuse, please do well to even Google. Google is your friend. Your solution might be at the tip of your fingers. Make sure to talk to someone. Make sure to open up to someone. There are many more therapists. There are many more counselors. In the school where you go to, you can probably find help. Talk to a friend. Man, do not die alone. Do not die alone. If you Google, you get numbers of how you can talk to people who you don't even know, if that makes you feel better. You can find platforms and online sources as to how to get help. As in, we're in a generation of so much more information. Please get help. We've come to the end of the episode. I think I've basically given you guys my part in short, but I want to hear from the rest of the bunch, right?
Yeah.
Just tell us. Start with you, Joy.
Can I start?
Okay.
Auntie me.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, speak up. As a guy, if you've been sexually abused, feel free to call in. And I'm sure we have episodes where we have therapists coming through. So please call in and speak. You can keep your voice anonymous. For the ladies, revenge is not it. Trust me. Just get help either way. Parents, pay attention to your children.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, for me, I want to say, I'll start with the ladies. Because even adults, they get harassed too or abused. Parents should do more than they've been doing before. And even teachers too should try to educate the children. And that's all.
My own part in short would be that I would address everyone. I would say for the men, you touching a woman or putting your hands on her phone is none of your business. Keep your hands to yourself. Respect yourself and respect the person. Yeah, and speak up if you are going through something, sexual abuse, whether it's a man or a woman. Feel free to speak up. You can speak to me. I'll listen to you. Girl, can't speak to mama.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you.
I have a general advice. Don't start a conversation that you cannot finish.
Talk to me directly. All right. That's it from you.
Can I say something?
Not in this episode. Not in this episode. Not in this episode.
Okay.
Not in this episode. I promise you.
Okay.
That's it, guys. We've come to the end of this show. We begged him to allow us to come to the end. It's been a difficult conversation. It's not as fun as the other ones, but these are things that have to be said, right, guys?
Yes.
So totally make sure to follow us on our social media platforms and subscribe wherever you're getting this podcast from. If it's on YouTube, please do well to subscribe. If it's on Spotify, wherever you're getting this podcast, the word is still subscribe, right?
Yes, subscribe. And follow us on Instagram at Class Sky Entertainment.
Yeah, because they're the ones powering the show.
These are our sponsors, by the way.
All right, guys. So thank you very much. This is it, and see you next time.